excited about today. I am going to tell you a little bit about myself for those of you that may not know who I am. My name is Wendy Warren, and this is my home church. We've been with the fellowship. I was pregnant with Reagan, who you got to see. She's awesome, by the way. She's 19, so 20 years we've been with the fellowship. It raised my family. Like, the fellowship's pretty much raised us, right, babe? I'm also going to share a part of my testimony today that I have not publicly spoken about just yet. So I'm going to need you guys to bear with me. You'll quickly find out that I am pretty loud and I'm really funny. Thank you for laughing. But I'm also emotional, so I'm just going to set the stage real quick. When I started thinking about having to share my story, I knew right out the gate it wasn't going to be easy, but the Lord quickly reminded me of Revelation 12:11, and it says, the enemy is defeated by the blood of the Lamb, which is Jesus Christ, and the word of their testimony, which is when we tell others about what he's done for us. So I figured, if God can do what he did, and when we tell his story, it sets people free, and then that freedom sets us up to tell our story to continue to set people free. You want to get free today? So I'm the oldest of three. I'm the only girl. 2 younger brothers. Lucky me. I was raised in a single-parent home, and I had an abusive alcoholic father. I saw things as a child you're not supposed to see, and watched my mom go through things that you're not supposed to watch your mom go through. She's one of the strongest women that I know. I love you, Mom. Strongest women that I know, and I honor her today for what she had to go through, what she made it through. At 7 years old, I was molested by a family member, and it went to court. It was a big deal, and my dad was there, and the judge encouraged him to stop drinking for a spell so that I could have my parents, so that I could heal and I could get well. And the next memory that I have of him is he pulled me aside after that happened, and he told me, I love you, kid, but I don't love you enough to quit drinking. And he left. And I saw him a couple of times over the next couple of years, but when I was 10, he decided to take his own life. He hung himself from a bridge in Houston, and I'm 10. And the last thing that I remember him saying to me, the last thing I can remember, is that he didn't love me enough to stop his addiction. I'm 40, and my heart breaks for him today because he didn't know the man, the Father, the God, the Jesus, the blood that could set him free. I don't remember having the tools as a human being at that age to be able to cope and process through the magnitude of those life events, much less handle it correctly. I'd given my life to Christ as a child, and it actually happened just before the bottom fell out, and I'm thankful for that, the Lord. He's so good. So at the time, I wasn't naive that Jesus was around. I just wasn't living for him. So fast forward through high school, boys and drugs, and the lack of wanting to live myself, because I faced that spirit of suicide because it was on my family. It was on my generationally passed down. I found that Jesus still had me the whole time. So right out of high school, I got married to a really hot guy. He's so cute, y'all. He's so cute. We had a couple of really beautiful kids. And we've made a really great life out of what could potentially have been a very devastating one for me. God restored. He restored what it's supposed to look like to have a father. Not only in the husband that I have, the father of my children, but the Father in heaven. He restored what it was supposed to look like. However, over the last 20 years of my life, I never realized the roots that had taken hold of me deep inside. The roots that had buried themselves as a kid through everything that I had been through. I thought I'd done all the processing, y'all. I surrendered it all again and again and again, slain in the spirit, wrecked before the Lord, a puddle on the floor. I was sure that I had gotten to the bottom of all that junk. I would soon find out that that was not the case at all. I've been overweight most of all of my adult life, actually. And in 2014, I made the decision to have an elective bariatric surgery called the lap band. And for those of you that don't know, it's an inflatable silicone device. It's placed around the top portion of your stomach to decrease food consumption. It did not go well. Right out of the gate, I couldn't keep anything down. About 80% of what I would eat and drink wouldn't make it. But I just assumed that this was my life now. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't talk about it with anyone. I just stayed miserable. And I put my face on. And I did the church thing. 10 months out from surgery, I ended up in the hospital with uncontrollable stomach pain. Come to find out, my vomiting had irritated everything in my stomach, and I was forced to confess to everyone how I had been living the last several months. And although I just wanted this thing removed, the doctor opted just to simply deflate the tubing. I knew it was a mistake, but for the first time in a year, almost a year, I could eat. So I did. I did. I not only gained back the little weight that I had lost, but I put on quite a bit more. In 2019, I found myself at almost 325 pounds. German? I also found myself really, really sick. I'd been to the doctor a few times, a few months prior to that. Not only were my blood tests completely out of range and everything completely off the charts, I was having the stomach pain again. That was escalated, of course, because I couldn't, at that time, keep anything down. It was the season all over again. I was in complete denial, and I was not being compliant at all with what the doctor was telling me about my excessive overeating. In fact, transparent moment, I was in full rebellion. I was like, forget that. I mean, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna eat good going out. Y'all are thinking about lunch, aren't you? That's rude, it's rude. I'm just kidding, for those of you that don't know. Looking back now, it's unimaginable how far I'd let myself go. So one day, the pain just got too bad. So in April of 2019, I ended up at the gastroenterologist doctor, and come to find out I had a pretty severe hernia, and I needed surgery immediately. Of course, this is the place that no one wants to be, not only because I was having yet another surgery, but I was forced to admit I was literally eating myself to death. I was embarrassed, filled with shame. I was filled with guilt. And admitting that, I mean, there's no formula for that. I had a serious problem with food, and I did not have a handle on it. It had me. And I just didn't realize it until it was too late. Admitting that I was slowly killing myself with the very thing that helps sustain life seems pretty ridiculous. It's hard to say, by the way. My mouth is really dry. I was in no way prepared for what was about to happen. After the surgery, the doctor told me that if I'd waited just another month, 2 at the most, the lap band would have eaten completely through my stomach, and that would have been a very different situation had I survived at all. During surgery, he repaired the hernia, and he removed over 70% of my stomach. And I quickly discovered that he also took away my ability to cope with the thing I love the most. Y'all, the emotional downfall afterwards was beyond intense. I'm never at a loss for words, but I couldn't even write it because I don't know what word to use. the things I was forced to face in the weeks following surgery that led to my food addiction, everything from my childhood, the abuse, the trauma, my dad's suicide, being molested, it all came flooding back, and things went really, really dark. And I don't know if you've ever been to that place where it got so dark where you can't get off the couch. You don't want to take a shower for day 4 or day 5. You don't want to brush your teeth. I don't want to talk to anybody. They don't have anything that they can say to me to help me right now. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to do it. And I had nothing to help me not feel that way. Like I said, you think you're past it. You think you've healed. It's been so long, right? I mean, my dad, he's been gone 21 years. You think you're past it until you are forced to remove the filter that you've placed between you and it. And unfortunately for me, my story, my filter was food. The perception on the outside of the manifestation of what was going on the inside is she's just overweight. She just needs to go on a diet. Work out a little bit. Weight loss surgery is the easy way out. Okay. And just on my little rabbit trail, I don't recommend that for everybody. I need you to really seek the Lord before you do something like that, because it was terrible for me. Both times. But what went unnoticed and unaddressed and unseen, even by me, were the deep roots of childhood trauma and brokenness and wounds and abuse and betrayal and unforgiveness and the lies from the enemy that were buried beneath all my weight. And I just kept eating and eating and eating and covering it up and covering it up and covering it up and not talking about it. It makes sense to me now why one of my favorite Bible stories of all time is about a man named Naaman. It's out of 2 Kings chapter 5. We don't need to turn there for the sake of time, but I do encourage you to go read that story. It'll mess you up. It's so good. It's just meat. It's so good. I'm going to give you a quick summary. Naaman was a commander of the army of Syria. He was considered a great and honorable man among his people. However, he suffered from leprosy. He went to great lengths and spent a considerable amount of time covering up the fact that he was infected. He was infected with a disease that was literally eating him alive. The parallel is uncanny. I couldn't make that up if I wanted to. He would continue to put on his layers of garment and his layers of armor to hide the fact so that no one would know. Because back in that day, if you know anything about leprosy, they were shunned. If they had leprosy, they were put outside the city because they were contagious, they were icky, they were gross. And whoever had it, they were considered unclean. In fact, if they crossed somebody on the street, they would have to yell out, "Unclean," so that whoever was coming by them would know that they had leprosy. It's funny how we do this to people today, and they don't even have leprosy. We look at them, we see them, and what they appear to be manifesting on the outside, and we immediately cast them out because they don't look the part. Or we don't agree with them. Or they don't fit our agenda. Or they don't fit inside our little box of reason. And can I dare say that church people seem to be the worst about this? We fail to look past the manifestation to the root cause of it. It seems we gravitate to looking only at the manifestation and what we can see, choosing to ignore any possibility that something might be going on that's deeper, something beneath the surface that's rooted and lying in wait. And the behavior, it's just a cover-up, guys. It's garments, and it's armor, and it's weight, and it's food, whatever it is for you, or your family member, or your friend. We have to know and we have to keep in mind that deep-seated trauma and tragedy, it manifests itself in so many different ways. And if we don't deal with the roots and the tragedy and the trauma and the brokenness, that need to be healed, we will never be able to deal with the outward behavior. We will never be able to fix what's on the outside unless we get. I'm only telling you this because I had to learn this the hard way. I figured I would just save you a couple of round that mountains. I'm a round the mountain kind of chick. The Lord, I love him. He keeps me. But I love going around the mountain again and again until I get it right. I'm just going to save y'all one of your trips. Wendy, that's just too hard. It's too hard. We no longer have the time or the desire to find out why. Why do they act like that? Why did they choose that lifestyle? Why does she eat so much? It's too hard. Then, if I try, that must mean I accept their position, or I accept their behavior, or their current decisions. But guys, this is not about acceptance. This is about love. I do not have to accept your truth to love you. Let me keep going. I believe that deception is the cancer of the church. It's a bold statement, but every fiber of my being, I believe that deception is like a cancer in the church. It is slowly eating away the biblical kingdom truth and principles that we should be standing on. And I believe that that deception is cloaked as religion. Tuck your toes. But we wear it so well. Holding tight to this cloak, it makes us feel inferior and correct and even safe. When actually it oozes arrogance and self-righteousness as a false pretense, and it has absolutely zero to do with Jesus Christ or what he did on the cross. Guys, we see broken people all the time. All the time. We pass them on the street. We shop with them. We work with them. We go to school with them. We live with them. We go to church with them. But the problem seems to arise when we have to deal with them. I know it's hard, guys. I know it's hard, and I promise I'm getting somewhere. I know it's tough. But it's sad whenever you're looking at an answer. You have the answer inside of you, and we don't want to deal with them. We don't want to clean their mess up. We don't want to get our hands dirty. We just want to have our Sunday experience without interruption. Our 3 songs, our feel-good message, and go over to Applebee's afterwards for lunch to talk about the very broken people we saw at church. Y'all don't talk about people. I'm talking about the other people, not y'all. The spirit of religion will distract us from being who we're supposed to be, who we're actually supposed to be. We end up being disgusted and argumentative at the manifestation. We're looking at the manifestation still, and now we're disgusted and we get argumentative and we get defensive because that spirit gets a hold of our mind and we think that we're right. What someone's doing, what they're saying, things they're choosing. We so much fall into this deception that we end up only pointing out the sin of it. Guys, listen, sin is sin. I don't play with that. That's very black and white. Sin is sin, period. But if all we do is walk around pointing out everybody's sin, do you really think that they're going to get healed to find a way to get out of the sin? Do you really think that us holding them, do you think they don't know? Guys, I knew I was overweight. I didn't have to have anybody tell me, although I wish they would have said how bad it got. How do you say that, though, right? I love them. We talk about this. They're fine. They're fine. It's looking back. I have a hard time swallowing those pictures. Guys, but that's just my story. There's things that are so much worse than this. We can't keep pointing out what people are doing wrong if we don't try to find out why they're doing it. Because that is what it's about. That is what changes things. What if I was to tell you that unless we deal with those roots, unless we get our hands dirty, unless we dig it up, unless we clean the mess, that this is all for nothing? What are we doing? Guys, we're in a time right now where, woo, if y'all ain't read Revelation, you might want to right now, because we close. We close. But you know one thing that I know, no matter what you're going through or what you're facing, Jesus did not die for us to live broken. The cross was not in vain. And he sure didn't die for us church people to judge broken people from our high places. Meanwhile, we're just as broken as they are probably even more so. Guys, listen, I had to do this first by myself, being the Lord. This is not about weight loss. And I am in no way advocating for weight loss surgery at all. That's just my story. But whether I wanted it to or not, it saved my life. God used it to literally save my life. And today, I want to bring that same healing to you. That's what today's about. About finally getting healed from the things that have led where you are today. The things that you don't talk about. The things that happen to you that still torment you at night. Those things that lie beneath the surface, rooted in your gut. The things that only Jesus can heal. This is about finding full freedom from the things that have broken you, kept you down, held your breath, taken your life, killed your dreams, shattered your hope, left you alone, filled you with shame, wearing your guilt for everything that those things made you do. Today's your surgery date. And the ultimate physician's in the house. I need you to know that up until worship today, I did not want to do this. I wanted to do this. I wanted to be with you guys. But saying these things are not easy. Not just because it's about me, but because I know what it does to the inside of you, because I know that you have this longing to be free. You have this longing and this need for what is next. And this is how we do it. We have to deal with the roots. Worship team, you can come. We have to face those things that we don't talk about. And I'm not saying you have to call somebody and start confessing. I don't say you don't have to write a letter to the pastor. You don't have to come up here after church and start pouring out your guts. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. You and Jesus. I just want you to have an encounter with Jesus. I just want you to meet him and let him meet you where you are, so that what is coming won't keep you down, because what happened to you doesn't have you by the neck anymore. Would y'all stand, please? I want to take this moment to give those an opportunity that would want to. Just a chance to test me. I know a God that doesn't lie. I know a God that's faithful. And he will not quit you. Ever. Even when we quit on ourselves. He's here for you. And guys, this is a big world out there. There's a lot of things going on, and we have work to do. And we can't lay on the couch anymore. We can't lay on the couch anymore. We have to get up. It's time to get up. It's time to rise. So the worship team, they're going to start singing. And I want to open this altar up. We do it every Sunday, but I want it to feel a little bit different today. Because my heartbeat is always going to be freedom. That runs through my blood. It's freedom, it's wholeness, it's restoration. That's what I want for you. But it happens with an encounter with the one that can bring those things. And it's just wood and it's just carpet. But he's here. wants to help you get in touch with that side so you can get healed, so you can get free, so you can be whole, so you can be restored, so we can go out there and fight this battle. When you feel led, I want you to come. They're going to sing.
No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, a mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, a lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, a mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, a lie you won't tear down, coming after me.
I cancel any doubt in the room today. I cancel condemnation because it's not welcome here. I cancel any lie from the enemy that he's telling you that you can't beat this or you can't win. Father, I pray for every single person in this room, everybody watching online. I pray that your life is never the same from this point going forward. I pray that there was a moment that you've had with Jesus, the one that died to save you, the one that will heal you, that you had that encounter today, and that going forward, you'll never be the same. Father, I pray that you seal this word. Father, I pray that you just come in with that love balm that only you can give. God, we give you honor and glory for what's happening in the place today. We love you. We love you, and we give you glory for it in Jesus' name. The worship band's going to continue to play for a few minutes. Please feel free to continue to come up here. If you are ready to go, please feel free to be dismissed. Online, thank you for joining us today.